clients want us to make money because they want they want their builder to be there.
Yeah, well, the minute you're not making money, like the assumption is you're cutting corners to try and, salvage a dollar. Like,
welcome to the Build Insite Podcast. Real people, real insights. Step into the world of innovative construction, one conversation at a time.
Today we are joined by Brett Way, co-founder and builder at VW Building Projects. Brett and his team are placed across Melbourne, Geelong and the Bellarine Peninsula. They specialise in heritage homes, and today we deep dive and get the insights on how their team grow and thrive in multiple locations.
All right, guys, we're wrapping up at the end of the day here. We've had a big couple of days. Yesterday was the very first Build Insite Live. We've had, so far actually, every guest that's come on the podcast has come along to the Build Insite Live yesterday as well. Brett from VW Build, mate, we saw you made the effort to come along yesterday as well. You were just telling me actually it's taken you, like you live an hour and a half away from here, so the commitment actually to come yesterday afternoon, back home again last night, hour and a half back here to come onto the podcast. That's a lot of time you've given up, mate. So really appreciate it. Mate, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, pleasure. It's driving back and forth as much as I do. It's I get through a few of your podcasts. It's nice to be on the other side.
Good to hear, mate. First podcast for you?
It is, yeah absolutely. So.
Awesome. So, mate, let's get into a little bit on your journey, who you are, where you started out. You've got a bit of an interesting story with a business partner as well. Tell us who you are, mate, and who is VW Building?
Yeah. So I'm one half of VW Building. It's myself and my business partner Josh, who couldn't be here today. But childhood friends through my partner. We all went to school together. We both went into carpentry straight out of school. Ended up both working for the same builder who made some pretty incredible homes out in Hurstbridge, for anyone that's familiar with that neck of the woods. Really, really good relationship. He was a beautiful mentor. He's still a very close friend of Josh and mine.
Awesome.
And then I think we worked for him for the better part of 10 years before deciding we should probably do it for ourselves.
That's great.
I think it was his idea actually, the builder, which kind of shot him in the foot because we didn't stick around too much longer after that. But it was that into a carpentry company for a few years. Took a little bit of time off and spent some time overseas. And then when my partner and I got back, Josh and I thought, look, let's get licensed and give this everything we got. Sort of rolled from there, did a stint on the block, same as just about, every second guy that you run into at the the
you guys did a stint on the block?
Yeah, we did his season on the block as well.
Yeah, right.
So,
there you go.
Look, not too much to tell there, really. It's the same story as everyone else. You learn a lot of things you don't want to do, but it gives you a bit of an idea of what is possible in terms of drive and effort and dealing with nonsense. So we sort of rolled into that and then got licensed not long after that. And we've sort of been working on the company ever since.
Yeah, good.
Awesome, mate. So what's the business looking like at the moment? What's your type of projects do you prefer?
So we're primarily a heritage builder, which is a cool little niche that we sort of found ourselves into over the last few years. Similar to quite a few builders, having that background in complex renovation really helped. And Josh and I both just found that we really like that complexity, that challenge, the story that comes along with it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we just sort of found working, inner city Melbourne, there's quite a lot of heritage facade with, architectural extension, which is a pretty common mould. And the fact that we really love the conservation side of that, the true heritage side, we're just sort of finding our way into more and more of that. So a little bit more of that, true restoration, combined with a bit of architectural is it's what we do and what we want to sort of keep pushing into.
Yeah. And there's a couple of different divisions, obviously. So Josh is a bit more central Melbourne and you're down the coast.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a fairly recent sort of change. So we were both together in Melbourne I think we've been building for 5 years, something like that. And I moved down to Barwon Heads about 18 months ago, something like that. And we both decided we'd sort of split our roles pretty comfortably at that point. I was a lot more sort of sales and estimating and Josh is really comfortable in operations. So it kind of meant that I could do that from a distance without too much trouble. And then we had a bit of work pop up down there, some really cool sort of projects that were right in our niche, and that sort of led to starting a second division of the company that works solely down in that sort of Geelong, Bellarine Peninsula.
Yeah, and that's something we connected on, Brett. Pretty similar. Yourself, and me with our situations, I moved out to the Macedon Ranges, and I think a while ago we touched base on Instagram about it and how we're finding it. Same thing, like Darren and myself had to split roles a bit and share the load. I think you're always better off working your strengths than your weaknesses, and vice versa, complement each other. But how did you find setting up down there, and did projects come knocking your way, or did you?
Yeah, look a bit of both, I suppose. It's like in making that move, my partner and I, we discussed the sea change for a while. I've got family down there, and it was a fairly natural place to go. But at the same time, like I said, we had this particular project. There was a really unique sort of heritage build. It was a long-term project that was down that way, and it was enough to go, look, let's make that move, and let's sort of take the company with us.
Awesome.
So that was cool. So you're right, like having the...
Yeah. Is that the project you've done? You do some awesome stuff on social media. Is that the one where you got a bit of stonework involved with it? Yeah.
That's the one. So it's called Corriell. It's the oldest building on the Bellarine.
Yeah, wow.
So it's like, I think the story's a huge part of it, and it was... it was built by the two founders were Drysdale and Newcomb, which are now the suburbs either side of it. Like there's a heap of heap of story to it.
That's cool. Some history.
Beautiful sort of old sandstone castle, for lack of a better term. And we're adapting the former stables and servants' quarters into a second dwelling, which has been that's as unique a piece of like true sort of conservation that we've sort of been able to be a part of. So that's that definitely
definitely sounds like a project once it's all said and done for you guys, mate, that you're going to look back and be pretty proud of.
Oh, it's definitely a dream. Really, even sort of the people we've been involved in with it. The client is a heritage consultant. He's lives and breathes that style of work, and he's just a wealth of knowledge. Just
awesome.
A beautiful family to work with.
Yeah.
So we've been really fortunate in that, and hopefully that sort of springboards into more of that, because I think it's that's definitely the dream style of sort of projects for us.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. That's the type of project you guys want to be known for?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think anything of that high degree of finish, high degree of complexity is the goal. But we do a lot of architectural, but the heritage side of it is definitely, it's just pretty unique, and there's just so much, so much.
There's a bit more love and care that goes into it.
It does, yeah. There's a lot of builders that obviously, aren't comfortable in that space or don't quite know what they don't know, but I feel like we live and breathe it enough that we're pretty well aware of what we're going to run into, and that certainly makes it feel a little bit more like home for us.
Yeah, sure.
For over 130 years, Barwon has been the builder's choice, providing a service that provides timber, hardware and innovative building products.
And now we're helping you further with this wonderful partnership.
The family that have been here for generations, Barwon, has been powering the Australian building industry with family values, trusted service and the drive to make our industry better. They're helping us provide you the insights that matter. Build Insight, together with Barwon.
Real people,
real insights. Yeah, there's definitely we've done a lot of renovations, extensions and period heritage homes as well. So definitely, I think they get me more excited, to be honest. I mean, I find them a new home, any of my clients out there wouldn't be offended, but a new home is a bit easier. Like you're starting from a fresh canvas, whereas renovations, extensions, you don't actually know what you're about to uncover.
100%.
What's been something on that project that's obviously got a lot of history and age to it? What's been one of the biggest challenges?
So some of the challenges, I think, there's some existing sandstone walls that had to be preserved exact. And you will not find an engineer on the planet that's comfortable, underpinning that. So I think we ended up. So we had like 1,800 wide hit and miss underpinning that was 1,800 tall. So we had shoring and someone standing below it. And then we had a 3.5 metre screw pole below that.
Wow.
So we're like 6 metres underground.
Wow.
To provide a footing that was deemed good enough to hold up this stonework that's stood for well over 100 years in its own right. Like it wasn't going anywhere. But
it's a hard one.
I've got some images of that floating around.
Yeah, there's a few of those, a few for the records.
That's a tricky one though, isn't it? When you look at it from that perspective, it's been there for 100 years. Like, why are we potentially disturbing this to actually make it crack or move now by doing this? And holy dooly.
Yeah.
What extent of a build like that is, because there's a lot of what we do in Adelaide where you kind of only got to keep the front facade. Is there more than just the front facade that you got to preserve on something like that?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a mix of both. I'm very familiar with that sort of style of facade, and then you can kind of go
do what you want
pretty
behind it,
architectural with the
really.
rest. But this was everything was either, so I guess to give a bit of context, like it's a big gable end on both ends of the building, like that pretty traditional sort of shape. Everything within that footprint has been essentially redesigned so that it is essentially replica, if not true restoration. Wow. So there's a couple of old photos because it's I think it's 1849, so like it's about as far back as you'll go.
Yeah.
That's and there's some like black and white sketchy photos that we were working towards. We've copied because there's a main building on the property as well. We've stenciled a lot of the fretworks. It's all sort of like hand cut fretwork. Stenciled that and reapplied that on like the gable ends. All the windows are sort of true replica. And then there's an adaptation on the side of it, which is a little bit more modern, just to get some facilities in so that it still can function as a home. But everything that's in that original sort of envelope is as close to exact as we can get, while still trying to maintain, building to a high quality. Like we had to keep the original roof pitch, but then try and adapt the build up to suit, like a ventilated cavity. And I mean, you'd probably find really similar stuff in. Obviously, I saw the place you guys were doing. There's a bit of a game in that, and then try not to lose ceiling height, but not not creep above this stone, for example. It's it's not a simple sort of game.
Yeah, definitely got to find like happy medium to performance and durability, and obviously honour something that's there. And when you got heritage overlays and things, it's becomes a bit more fun and work involved. But so Brett, let's chat like lifestyle a little bit, mate. You've made the sea change, gone down the coast, running a building company, being high performing, building those sorts of jobs. So what's a day-to-day look like for you, mate? Is you trying to maximise the coastal lifestyle along with the hard work? Yeah,
it's definitely a different balance, and because it still feels like a pretty recent move, sort of under 18 months, we rolled in there into a coastal town at the start of winter, which is pretty quiet. So there's definitely a bit of getting used to it. Like we moved in just in time for my daughter to start kinder. There was like that first sort of 6 months was a pretty hardcore sort of adjustment. Definitely sort of a little bit isolating going somewhere that's that sort of cold and quiet when you're not used to it. But by the time the summer rolled around and we'd sort of built a little bit more of a community there and that sort of thing, it's really it's really sort of coming to life. Like my partner, while we were here last night, she had the kids on the beach. Like, we're obviously got some beautiful weather at the moment for this time of year, but like the ability to just drop everything, pick my daughter up from kinder and
down the beach,
be on the beach, like it's pretty cool.
That's mate. We were talking a bit yesterday about that smell the roses a little bit. I think when you run a business, and especially being a builder, you're always looking at the next. I think it was Dale, the Melbourne builder, sitting here, just really assessing what you've got. You get a big job like that, but then you got to keep feeding the beast, getting the next one. So, really important that we have time to sit back and do those things with family for sure.
100%. That's obviously a difficult balance to strike. I think Josh and I have always been pretty good with, especially once the business got to a certain size when we were both in the office. We're pretty regimented with our time. We don't work overs unless it's absolutely necessary. We don't work weekends. None of our team are expected to. It's we're pretty clear cut on the balance when we wherever we can, which is I think pretty important. Like neither of us have burned ourselves out too hard. If that's the case, we can keep that up.
That doesn't happen overnight, though, does it? Like, there's obviously the early days you got to do a bit of a slog, and then when you start building out your systems and processes to enable that. So,
well, that's exactly it. Look, there was obviously years there where every minute of paperwork was after hours. Or it's the same story as everyone, no doubt. But you feel like you sort of earned the ability to sort of to take a little bit of a step back. Like we don't take the foot off the pedal per se, but. We can still do it in an 8-hour day. I think that's pretty important to kind of have those rules where you can.
What would you say, Josh, to like another builder out there? Circus Studio is Australia's leading interior design centre. If you're an architect, building designer, interior designer, builder, or just looking to build your dream home, you need to make a time and come in and check out the space here in Port Melbourne.
With everything from wall and ceiling linings, doors, architectural hardware, cladding and flooring.
This space holds every element that you'll possibly need to design your dream home. I think we've all sat back at times and you build up your reputation, projects, business in a location. And obviously yourself and me are a bit unique. We've got a partner that we've got in the building company, whereas someone like Luke's got himself and then project managers and managers and etc. But what would you say to someone that's thinking about a tree change or sea change, but maybe worried that's the end of the company?
Yeah, well, I guess you're right. Having a business partner for a start is that's a pretty big leg up. Like Josh and I are incredibly close, and we work together really well. So that's supported my move like endlessly. Really, he's Josh was completely behind me when I discussed it. Like I was nervous even telling him at first when my partner and I decided it was really on the cards. Like we talked about it on and off, but when we thought we really might have a go at this, Josh he's a beautiful man, and he was completely on board with it. He's like, look, we'll find a way to make it work.
Yep.
I sort of trialled because we'd started this project down there before we shifted.
Okay.
I trialled sort of commuting and things like that, and it would have been possible, but I think the fact that my role is probably a little bit more, sort of client-faced and that sort of thing, it did make the shift a bit simpler. So I think, having the support of someone who's, who is still staying in the area, so whether that's a partner or someone you can bring on in, an operations role or something like that, I think that's probably a big one.
So the big resto that you were just telling us about with the sandstone, you'd already started that before you moved down there?
Yeah, correct.
Wow,
So,
there you go. How close is that to where you're living now?
it's about 20 minutes from where I moved to, and they're both, an hour and a half to 2 hours from Melbourne, depending on the time.
Wow, okay.
But sort of with that project in mind, when we knew that project was going ahead, like we'd worked with that client we discussed it on and off for, probably 2 years. before we actually kicked it off. So, and we'd worked with that family on other projects prior. So there was a fair lead in. So we knew it was coming, and we'd started to sort of build a little bit of a team around it. We hired a project manager down there who's a really good operator that we'd known outside of building. Lockie, he's a gun, so we sort of had the confidence that we could control the project regardless. And then when the sea change thing sort of came up, it just meant that I could be really on the day to day, because it was one that it's a pretty special sort of project to us, and we definitely wanted one of us to have real oversight. So
how are you managing the culture in two locations with the team?
Yeah, it's a good question. One thing that's been tricky, like we're a sizable team, I suppose, and trying to keep like monthly meetings and things like that up when you've got two locations. Like I'm sure you sort of find running the same things. It can be tricky. Like we do a monthly meeting over Zoom, but it does get a bit lost in translation. Like you could have three people speaking in the room, and it's pretty hard for people on the other side to hear. So it's a work in progress. Really, it's I think we're fortunate to have really good people in both sides. And probably pretty well aligned in personalities too. Like, Josh and I have probably been, pretty careful in who we hire and hiring. It's a good team. So there's no one that's like the culture seems to come with that, I think. But at the same time, trying to keep the two sort of parts of the company, intertwined is probably tricky.
Have you got kind of like two separate divisions, like your one team will stay down where you're based and one team will stay in Melbourne, or is there a bit of an overlap between the two?
Very rare overlap. So early on, some of the Melbourne team were happy coming down just while we were getting it out of the ground, and it's a pretty cool site, and people were happy to spend a few days working by the beach. For sure. But we don't try to promote it. It is a long distance for everyone to travel. So typically, we like the team that's sort of Geelong, Bellarine based will only do projects in that area. And then the Melbourne team is Melbourne exclusively. And then we've got a couple of project managers in both sort of locations, and they stay in their sort of zones.
Nation zone.
I think if I was working on the Melbourne team, I'd be pretty quickly switching sides if I was in your crew, mate. It's a beautiful part of the world. But I think that's the difference as well. I've lived in Melbourne Metro for a long time, and also lived in rural Victoria for a long time. And I find, like, obviously, not to say the culture's necessarily different, like people are people, but I think it's that country beach lifestyle, laid back. People can be real laid back. Melbourne Metro, it's a bit more frantic, go. You get off the ring road or something like that, mate, and it's like car rage, ready to go, get out on site. It's a bit more fast paced. So imagine the people in the teams with the lifestyles change a little bit too.
I think so. I think it's like obviously a lot of the team from sort of the Geelong side, the Bellarine side, they're the majority are sort of born and raised there, so they know that pace there. They're comfortable there, but it is a mix. There's a few that have sort of moved down sort of semi-recently, like myself, and but I think you can pretty quickly see that there's a lifestyle that they've moved for as well. Like one of my carpenters down there, Harry, he's a lovely man, and he's pretty quick to get on the on his fishing boat like the minute work's done. So there's definitely some upsides to that.
So that's living the dream right there.
Yeah.
You've been to that, Lukey?
Oh, the boat it's collecting a fair bit of dust at the moment, but yeah, if only. Mate, what's the secret sauce you guys are using to kind of entice people to come and work for you? You got any tips and tricks, processes that you go through to attract the right people?
It's a tricky one, really. I think we've probably been more inclined to just hire people when they came along, if that makes sense. So, like, we advertise when there's a position available. A lot of it's social media, and we usually get a reasonable sort of level of applicant through that. But if someone sort of just happens to come into our sort of world, and they're the right sort of person, we will usually hire when they come on board rather than when we're looking to fill a role. And then we'll fill the role around them.
Make that position available for the right person. Yeah,
exactly. Like especially early days when making a new hire is really it's a really big deal, and you don't want to get it wrong, and you overthink it a lot. That was something that dug us out of a hole quite a few times, which you're going, look, it turns out that we hired the right people just because they were there, and we made it work, and now we're pretty confident in making that kind of call. Like, someone comes to us that we've got a lot of faith in, then we'll try and sort of make it work. So so I think that's probably been the magic for us at this point.
That was the end of part 1 with Brett from VW Building Projects. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Tune in next week for part 2. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you want to find out more about Build Insight, head over to the website buildinsite.com.au. Over on the website, you'll find links to previous podcast episodes, as well as our YouTube channel, Instagram and Facebook. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. Catch you on the next one.
Well, that's a wrap for another week's episode of the Build Insite podcast. Before we leave, just want to give a huge shout out to all of our sponsors for their ongoing support. Without their help, Build Insite wouldn't be what it is today.
Let's cue the disclaimer. I need to let you know that myself and the Build Insight team are in no way, shape or form qualified to give you personal or specific business advice. We strongly encourage you seek out the use of professionals for products or when you are making personal or business decisions. Everything discussed during the Build Insight podcast is our own and the guest opinion and personal experience, and is of a general nature only. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Catch you on the next one.